Martins. Martins has his way with introductions. Now I can't even recognize myself.
Yeah, that's the
Calling
idea.
me calling me selfless. I'm like, is it the same person I know? Or you're probably introducing someone else. But thank you for the introduction and thank you for the opportunity. It's always my pleasure having to teach and also share whatever knowledge I have. So I'm going to be taking out time to run you guys through the Studying the UK essay. And so this presentation is going to be structured. I think Martins had already briefed us on that. We'll be looking at the structure of the Studying the UK essay. We are going to also touch on some of the feedback from the Chevening Reading Committee and also a few points from some of the Chevening blogs. I've also shared some resources, links to some of the blogs, and also I think another PDF file that you could also find very useful in writing your essay. Then we're going to compare, the first or second draft of my Studying the UK essay and the one I finally submitted. So you can probably, spot any difference, any improvements, and what you think might have actually made the winning essay actually stand out. And then we'll have time for your questions. But before we go first into the structure of the essay, Martins, please go to the first slide. Let me just quickly read out. I know you had already mentioned this before.
Is it this part?
No, 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 no. The introduction,
This
the
one?
cover
Yeah.
page.
Oh,
Yes. So basically what the summary of the Studying the UK essay is basically, first you have to choose 3 courses or universities. So you could choose 3 courses from the same university. You could choose 2 courses from the same university and 1 course from another university. But most importantly, you must choose 3 courses. Doesn't matter how many universities you actually choose them from. And then you have to relate these courses to your past academic and professional experience. It could be, you could relate it to the both of them, or you could relate it to just one, academic or professional. And then the courses that you're choosing, they must connect to your future plans. And future plan here simply means your career plan, which is your fourth essay. So I usually say that the Studying the UK essay is more like a reflection of your career plan. So if I pick your Studying the UK essay, I should be able to speculate which direction your future is actually taking just by reading your Studying the UK essay. That's always the first thing I try to look out for, because that's what basically, tells the relevance of whatever you've included in your Studying the UK essay. And another key point I want to also mention before we go right into the essay structure is that your Studying the UK essay is basically about how much you can research. So your networking and your leadership are basically looking at your past. Your Studying the UK essay is a blend of your future plan and your ability to research, while your career plan is basically looking at the future. So that's what the 4 essays are about. And today we are going to be looking at Studying the UK essay, which focuses on your ability to research and also connect to your future plan. So let's look at the essay structure. Next slide. Okay. So the essay is usually structured. You have your introduction, then you have the body, which usually has your 3 choices, and then you could have like just a short conclusion just to tie everything back to Chevening. But your introduction would usually have a problem statement. So what do you want to solve with the courses that you've actually chosen? And why have you chosen the UK? And then why are you fit for this program? Now, in my own case, I don't think I actually, okay, no, I did not actually write a problem statement in my introduction. So my introduction was a combination of why I've chosen the UK and why I'm fit for this program. That was my introduction.
yeah.
So let's say, for instance, you are looking to go into a course or study a course that has to do with, let me say, I don't want to use renewable energy.
What will you
Yes,
use?
we're presenting slides. You
Will you
can't,
use public health?
I don't want to use public health. Okay, let me use my field.
We use
So
climate finance.
let me use climate finance or climate change, for example. So assuming I'm going to study something around renewable energy in the UK, why have I chosen to study renewable energy in the UK and not in the US, not in Germany? So I have to give reasons why the UK stands out in terms of they can't see us.
Okay, let's confirm. Who are those that can see the screen? Trevor, you can see my screen, right?
Yes, I can.
I can, sir.
You can what?
I can see your screen.
Yeah, I can see your screen from my hand.
Okay. I think maybe you might need to rejoin. For those of you that cannot see it, maybe just exit and rejoin. Trevor, please, you can continue.
Okay. So I have to identify where does the UK stand out in terms of renewable energy? So I could be looking at their investment in renewable energy in the UK and also outside the UK. I could look at the kind of organizations that they have that are into renewable energy. These are reasons why the UK could actually stand out. What targets have they actually set for themselves? And how do these targets actually compare to other countries? How much have they invested in other countries in terms of renewable energy? And what kind of professionals do they have in that space? I could also be looking at regulations. What kind of regulations do they have, standard regulations that the UK has in terms of renewable energy? So these are actually kind of points that could guide you to why the UK could actually stand out. There could be others. It could be that the UK has the only lab, and this is what they've been able to do with that lab in terms of renewable energy. So this makes the UK the best destination. Now, aside those points that relate to your profession, you could also give some non-academic reasons why the UK also stands out. The UK is diverse, and some persons will actually say, oh, the master's is for 12 months, which is shorter compared to other countries that could be 18 months and 2 years. So there are some reasons why you could actually pick the UK. But basically, the UK has to stand out, and you have to actually relate it to, you have to personalize why you're choosing the UK. The problem statements still on renewable energy could be that, oh, there's energy poverty or lack of energy access, or your country is heavily reliant on fossil fuel, and then there's a need to actually diversify to renewable energy. So by diversifying, you're solving the energy crisis, you're meeting the SDG 7, and you're also ensuring that your country does not, suffer the risks of what's relying on fossil fuel as the world is trying to move to clean energy. So this is how you can identify the problem statements. You could start with the problem statement, very short, and then why you're going to the UK to study a program to solve this problem, and then why are you fit for the program? So, for example, my background is in accounting and finance. If I say I'm going to study something related to renewable energy, do you think I'm fit for a program like that? I'm not. So with my academic background, where I've studied accounting and finance, I'm not fit for the program. But assuming that I worked in renewable energy for like, let's say 5 years, I've probably worked around renewable energy finance for 5 years. So if I'm going to study something related to renewable energy finance, then I have the professional experience. And then my academic experience is more like a foundation in finance, which I'm looking to build on. So these are reasons why I could be fit for a program. Beyond my academic background and my professional experience, it could also be that I've taken a short course. It could also be that I joined a boot camp like this, for example, for probably a month or 2 months. You would have gained experience from that kind of boot camp. So these are actually ways in which you could be fit for a program. So it's not necessarily that you must have worked for 5 years or 10 years. It could even be that you just worked for a year. Do you get? You are looking to bridge a knowledge gap with the courses that you've actually chosen. You are bridging a knowledge gap. So you should have some form of foundation to build on or to stand on. So these are areas in which you could be fit for a program. Passion does not demonstrate that you're fit. So you can't say you have a passion for this. No,
Yeah.
it doesn't make you fit for the program. You have to show evidence And passion really, if you have passion for something, I have to see the evidence. If you say you have a passion for renewable energy, the evidence should show in the spaces that you've actually worked in, the courses that you've taken. Probably you've taken some free courses in the past. So this is also the evidence of your passion. Saying that you have the passion for something is not sufficient enough. You have to show me. I have to see that there's a passion. And if I read your essay, I could see that you have passion without even you saying, I have a passion for this. Saying, okay, that's for the introduction. That's for the introduction. Now, the body of the essay, this is where you would choose your three courses, not three universities, like I earlier said. So you have your first choice, your second choice, and your third choice. Now, there are different ways you could actually approach this. I think I've divided into like three parts. So I think we're looking at course content. And so let's start with the course content first. So when you are talking about the courses that you're choosing, remember in the beginning, I said your courses, you're studying in the UK, has to show, that you have some form of academic and professional experience in the past. And it should connect to your future plans. That's the most important thing. So you could list 5, 10, whatever. It's not even advisable to list up to 5 modules. The advice is that when you are trying to actually write your study in the UK essay, and you want to actually point out modules that you might have an academic or professional experience, and then you're looking to bridge a knowledge gap with that module in connection to your future plan, at least 1 or 2 is okay. I think in my case, I played around 2 modules. I don't think I used more than 2. So you could play around 2 modules. You have to pick out the most relevant. So starting with modules, when you are trying to look at course content, you have almost about 8 to 10 modules. And all of them could be very, very exciting. So there's that temptation for you to want to put 5, 4, and you are struggling with actually prioritizing. Trust me, it's actually very, very possible to just highlight just one module. And that's even the best. So you can clearly connect your past experience if you have any. I will even advise that in most cases, you pick modules in which you have some form of experience, either academic or professional in the past. And that module will enable you to bridge a knowledge gap that you will use to achieve your career plan, your future plan. Those are the modules that you should be looking out for. Very clear modules. Now, when you look at modules, you have to go deeper, not just the module itself, not just the content of the module itself. You could go deeper into the modules and look at how will you be assessed. So modules will actually use a case study approach to assess and lecture. Assessment and delivery of these modules. It could be case study, it could be group work, it could be group work, case study. This could be different approaches. Some modules could also require you to also gain work experience. So I remember then I had to even reach out for my first choice. I had to reach out to someone who had done the course, I think a year before, and I had to speak to the person on WhatsApp to give me more insight into that program. I think there was a course I was really interested in, which was, I think, carbon accounting. And the person was able to tell me that, okay, this course, we did lectures for about 3 weeks. And then I think the remaining 4 weeks or so, we were attached to a particular company. And then we had to help them calculate or, prepare their carbon inventory. That was their assessments. So that's a very good way for me to bridge a knowledge gap, which I had already developed an academic background by taking a course, but now I need an experience to actually practicalize it. And then I've shown a past experience, academic through a course. I've also been able to show the knowledge gap I'm looking to bridge with this module. And then I had to connect it to my future career plan. So what do I want? So now that I've learned carbon accounting, I've learned this module, what do I want to do with it? Why? What's the essence? Why is it important? So you have to put that in your essay. So that's an approach for using what module. The content of the module, like I said, not just the content, how the module will be delivered. It's even possible that some modules could be delivered in a different place. Maybe you guys will be taught or you have to travel to a particular place to do a sightseeing, what would that do? What would that do for you? What would that do for your future plans? That's for models. Now, course content, you could also look at partnership. So look at your course, your program, for example. Is there any special partnership that you have with some organizations that might be relevant to your future career plan? Now, when looking at a partnership, when you want to explore the partnership aspect, most times it could be more relevant to your future career plan than a past experience. But it's also possible for you to have a past experience. But oftentimes, it's usually geared towards your future career plan. Now, these partnerships, how are you looking to actually build a relationship? How are you looking to actually explore this partnership in connection? Everything about, I'm going to say, is always good. You always have to tie it to your future plan. If you're not tying it to your future plan and you're studying UKSA, when you are writing your career plan, you have to try as much as possible to refer back to your study in the UK. So when you immediately return to your country, this is what you want to do. I'm going to be using the knowledge, the skill, the partnership, the network that I've gained from this course, from this school to achieve this. That's for partnership. So some programs might have a partnership with international organizations. Let's say Martin's now, big man in public health. Maybe his program might have a partnership with the WHO. What's the partnership about? What does the partnership contribute to the course? How can students benefit from that partnership? Do they have events as a result of that partnership? It could be that, well, as part of the course, maybe twice, maybe members from the WHO might actually attend or come for a meeting or come for a lecture. You are looking to network or learn directly with them. These are partnerships that you could explore. Now, lecturers, students usually play around module and lecturers. These are usually the two, scholars, most essays I've seen, they usually play around modules and lecturers. But outside this I've given, you also need to be creative and look for more. And that's why I said studying the UK essay is about how deep can you research? How far are you ready to go to know about what the courses that you're choosing? So lecturers, so you could highlight just one or two. Advisable, you highlight one lecturer. So talk about the lecturer's work. How relevant is the work with, let's go back to public health. How relevant is the lecturer in public health? What has the lecturer achieved? Some lecturers might have achieved so many things, a lot. They've done a lot. Probably someone that has been lecturing and researching for like 20 years. They've achieved. Well, yeah, I'll come to that. I'll come to non-academic. So the lecturer might have done a lot of things, but you have to pick just one or two. And this one or two, they have to be the most relevant to you. Probably your past experience or what you want to achieve in the future. So let's look at development, for example. So let's say, or let me look at economics. So I know that there's this lecturer, I can't remember, I think in my school, that's done a lot of research and giving advice to the UK government. That's what they do, most of the researchers here. In short, the UK government, when they implement regulations or laws, they usually work with researchers to give them evidence for actually implementing this regulation. So I think the lecturer is in economics, he's a professor, so, and he has even advised, I think the last minimum wage, he was part of the experts that actually gave the government an advice. So someone probably looking to, study something related to economics, minimum wage, and return back to their country and see how the country can implement, proper wage structure across national, state, and local level, could say, okay, you're looking to learn from this person. This is his experience. Now, what do you want to do? Probably you're looking to build a relationship with this person and you want to work with him on a particular research, or you probably want him to be your supervisor. So he's going to supervise your dissertation or your research project, and the insights you are going to get from that relationship with him and that research project, this is what you are going to use it to achieve when you return. Again, you might not actually mention what you want to achieve with it in your study in the UK, but if you don't, in your career plan, ensure that you do. So I think in my case, I only made those connections in my study in the UK. In my career plans were just straight. So I was just mentioning what I wanted to do. And the person that was reading that probably read my career plan could see that those things were not strange. I'd already mentioned how I was going to achieve, some of them in my study in the UK essay. That's for lecturers. Some programs will also give you work experience opportunities. And it could be through internships. It could be through maybe just a short 4-week project as part of a course. And these could be ways for you to work in, really, really good organizations where you could build network and where you could build practical experience that will also enhance your learning. So you're not just learning theories, you're also learning what's practical. And you'll be able to apply this easily when you return to your home country. If you're looking to get an employment, it's also going to increase your employability when you return. So some programs could actually have internship opportunities to WHO, to the UN, to big 4 organizations, to top oil and gas companies, to top renewable energy companies. So they might have partnerships with these organizations. And through these partnerships, students usually go on internship for 4 months. And this could be very, very relevant to your career plan. So that's for the course content when you want to explore course content. So let's go to the next slide.
I think before we go to the next slide, I think we're already on the next slide. I was thinking that before we go to the next slide, I would like you to maybe speak to why you didn't talk about ranking of universities.
This is where I'm going to talk about ranking, institution.
Okay, cool.
Yes. So institution. So aside course, you could also explore the institution itself as a whole. So I'm trying to start from, the smaller course, and then I'll go to institution, and then we'll look at the city. So institution, you could actually also look at talk about ranking. So the way most applicants usually start, they will tell you, oh, my first choice is the master's in public health at the University of Ibadan. The University of Ibadan is ranked number 1 in the UK. Now, when you are actually trying to look at ranking, when you're looking at ranking, it's usually advisable. The first place to look at in terms of ranking is if your program has a ranking, talk about how your program has been ranked. Let me use Success, for example. Generally, Success is not a highly ranked institution in the UK, but they have programs that are highly ranked. So I think their education and development is top. So instead of saying University of Success is ranked number 51, you say the program that you want to actually study is ranked this. That's always the first place to start. Now, if your school is not highly ranked, it's still good.
I prefer to remove ranking, to be honest.
Is it?
I prefer to remove ranking most times.
Yes, no, the thing is that everybody will usually, everybody uses ranking. So you have to be creative with these things because when I was preparing, everybody was using ranking. My school is ranked first. I don't think I can't remember if I talked about the ranking of my school, but I tried as much as possible to rank my program. I think I tried. When we'll look at my essay and then we'll see what I did. So you have to look at, first of all, how your program is ranked first. Then if you choose ranking, like Martins has said, there's no fancy ranking. It's a choice. If you want to actually talk about ranking, they already know. Really, Imperial College is highly ranked. LSC is highly ranked. So you want to actually make sure you manage your space very well. Some persons also talk about Russell Group. My school is not Russell Group. I don't know what that means. They just put some schools in a particular group and then they leave some of them out. Me, I don't like exclusion. So I don't know about Russell Group, but I've seen people talk about the fact that their school is a Russell Group and what's the benefit of that. So I know Edinburgh is also I think Edinburgh is Russell Group. I think I talked about Russell Group. I can't remember if I mentioned Edinburgh. Now, after ranking, you can also explore awards.
Yeah.
What award has your institution won? Again, award should be try as much as possible to make sure the award is related to your program. I think LS recently won an award in public health. Is it a rank? Is it ranking or
Is school over wide school ranking, not public
okay?
health.
Okay, so you can also look at award. You can look at award that they won. You can also look at grants. Has the school won any particular grants? Probably they've won a £7 million grant to do a research in a particular area that you're interested in. How do you want to key into that grant? Is there an opportunity for you to work in a project that the grant is going to be funding? There's an application I want to put out. I think it's Oxford. They won a grant to develop a standard. And I think one of their PhD students is also part of the people that actually applied for the grant. I will also be working on it as well. So it's also possible that if your school has won a grant, also explore if it's possible for you to also, work on it as well. How can you benefit from it if it's possible? And again, do you have the academic and past experience to actually work in that grant? Probably by the time you must have, started schooling there, maybe for 6 or 4 months, you might be able to actually work on the project. How is this relevant to your future plan? Okay. Now, student union, most schools, they might have different organizations or student union activities. This is also something you could explore. University of Sussex, student union usually organizes what is called a climate justice week. So I think when I was researching University of Sussex, I looked at the climate justice week and I was trying to look out for if they might have anything that is relevant to what I wanted to do. I didn't find, so I left it out. So also look at student union activities as well. They could also be engaging in some career activities. I think student union has, not student union, there's an organization under the student union that has a partnership with an organization that does some form of consultancy project. So students can actually apply to the institution and then they pair you with organizations to consult for them. So these are also things you could explore. You could also explore the student union in the area of non-academic activities or extracurricular activities. So this brings me to the last point about institution, which is non-academic activities. Not everything is about academic activities. So we're talking about academic activities, work experience. When you're looking at an institution, let's go back to location. Let's go back, we'll come to location soon. So when you're looking at your institution, they could also offer some non-academic activities. It could be sports. Those non-academic activities would also be related to your career plan, could also be related to your program. Let me try to bring an instance. Now, if your school is holding let's say if you are into entrepreneurship and your school is holding a competition where you can accelerator, that's the word I was trying to remember. It's not really related to your academic, or that's not academic activity. That's outside academics. You could also explore and probably win. And businesses, the ideas are usually win. My school, the minimum you can get up to £3,000. So if you are looking to actually, build your organization further when you return, you could use that money. So when you're saying you want to do this with your organization, you want to do that, nobody's wondering where you're going to get the money from. You've already talked about how you want to take part in this, accelerator program. If you can even go further and talk about the fact that you've also taken part in a similar program in the past, and probably this is where you got to, this is what you achieved. So using that experience, you are looking to also, further the experience and take part in this program. Probably the money you will win, this is what you plan to use it to do. Just be careful in case you get to the interview and they ask you, what if you don't win? What will you do? So be prepared for a question like that. So these are some non-academic activities that could also support your career plan. It might not really be fun activities like sports and yeah. So let's go to the next one. Yeah. So another point you can also explore when looking at when you want to talk about your courses or your choices, sorry, is also the location of your institution. You can look at the location, very, very close location, or you could look at the city. My first choice, I went to the extent of actually, I went on Google Map and checked for a location between, I think it was Bob Marley's house, where he lived when he was in London. So I checked the location of that house to Imperial College, and I was able to see that it was, I think, a 40 minutes, I think a 40-minute walk. That was the distance. So that also inspired my decision to take Imperial College as my first choice. Location, very close proximity. You could then look at the city in general, London. What is it about London? When you want to explore the location, don't just only explore the how the location is also going to, don't only explore the academic side of the location. The location could also have, some career events. I know that London could probably host, let's say, a renewable energy conference. And if you're into renewable energy and you're aware that, okay, next year, or let's say by December, hopefully when you should be in London, next year, December, they will be hosting a particular conference. You are looking to attend this conference for the first time. Those are career events. It could also be that the location will be hosting a very peculiar international event. It could be a sports event. It could be that the Olympics will probably, maybe some key Olympic games will be hosted in that particular city that you're going to, and you're looking to experience the Olympics for the first time. I think it's Euros. I think England is hosting a competition very soon. I think next year. I'm not so sure of when, but I know England should be hosting a very key competition really soon. So that could be a sporting activity that you're looking to experience for the first time. Watching a match live in the UK, the experience is something else. Me, I've done it, and I've watched both a female and a male, when the female and the male when they played, the women and men. I've watched their games. The experience has actually been very, very, I don't even have a word to actually describe the experience. But it's one of the best. If you're a sport fan, it's something you should be looking forward to. So if they have a very good international sport or football competition happening in England, at the time you expect to be there, that could also be a good point. It could also be an international event. Let's say, for example, COP. I think COP was hosted is it COP 26 was in Glasgow. So if one of your choices was in Glasgow and you are interested in climate change, now someone that is interested in, let's say, something that is not related to climate, you can't be putting COP that, oh, the reason why you're taking University of Glasgow is that Glasgow will be hosting COP26. No, that's not advisable. So whatever event you're looking at, it's either is extracurricular, non-academic. If it's related somehow to your career plan, you can also put that. Then there's tourist attraction. The UK has a lot of tourist attraction. And it's also another good experience again. And myself, Martins, and some other of our friends, we went to, was it Stonehenge?
Yeah.
And that experience transformed how I now see tourism. And I realized that the key foundation to tourism, first of all, is that there must be a story to a place. If there's no story to a tourist attraction, then I think it's pointless. That's the first thing before you talk about infrastructure. How do you move people to the place? There must be a story. So because I was able to actually go. That was one of the reasons why I wanted to go to the UK anyway. But there are lots of tourist attraction in the UK that you can visit. So if your city, the location of your school has, some tourist attraction, yeah, that's good. If you want to look at tourist attraction, you're looking at it from a broader perspective like you're looking at the UK in general, then you can add that to why you're choosing the UK. Then I've already talked about non-academic activities. So it could be non-academic activities that are related to your career plan, but not academic. Could also be extracurricular activities like sports. So if you're someone that you're probably interested in poetry, that's something you've been doing in your country. And it could be that the city you're going to, they usually have maybe there's a group, there's an organization, or there's an NGO that is based in that city. And every month they usually host, some form of poetry competition or poetry events. And you're looking to actually use that to engage yourself and make yourself busy and just to relax after, all the academic rigor. That's also something that you can point out. But again, it's best for you to decide. So let's go to the next slide.
Okay.
Yes. So that's for the structure, introduction, the body, and then you should have a conclusion, which you should always tie to achieving. But I always suggest my conclusion was 2 lines. It could be 4 lines. You could also use, this is another point I want to also point out, something I want to point out. You could also use why the UK as your conclusion. So you could have your problem statements and why you are fit to study the program you want to study to solve the problem. And your conclusion could be why you're choosing the UK. So you conclude by saying, oh, all these courses I've taken would actually help me to achieve my career plan, or studying the UK will help me achieve my career plan because the UK is this. So you could also use that to also conclude as well. So let's quickly look at some of the feedback from the Achievement Committee. And one of them is the strongest answers had a clear focus on study outcomes with evidence of research at institution and course level. So one of the things I mentioned earlier is that this essay will basically test how far are you ready to go to learn about your course. So you have to research, research and research. Go into the program, like go deep. And some people just look at the program, look at the course content, and it ends there. Now, read about the lecturers, read about how it's going to be assessed, even look at textbooks. Sometimes they will tell you the materials that you're going to study. Look at all those things. Go deep. If it's possible to reach out to someone that's done the program before, go ahead and do that and speak to that person. But you have to actually get a lot of knowledge. Don't just copy and paste what you've seen in the course content in your essay. They will know, they can tell. So next point, and it said the applicants who answered this question best did so by having distinct paragraphs discussing their courses. So you have 3 choices. Each paragraph, the first paragraph for your first choice, second paragraph for your second choice, the third paragraph for your third choice. Now, how do you actually allocate word counts between your choices? If I'm reading your essay, and your first choice is like 5 lines, and I see your third choice, man, you've written like 10 lines. Most of the word count has been dedicated to your third choice. I'll be wondering why this is your third choice. So I would suggest that you actually allocate word count based on what the choice is. So your first choice usually have, more word count. Your second choice, lesser compared to your first. And then your third choice will probably have, in my case, I just put my third choice just because I wanted to have a third choice to fulfill the requirements. But I ended up going to my third choice anyway. So you will see what I wrote about my third choice. So that's how I would suggest that you allocate what counts. And I also have some points from Shivling blog. Okay, so I was able to also look out, I think, one of the blogs. If you have not been reading the blog post from Shivling, I have some links. I was able to actually attach some links for you. Go ahead, read them. They will inspire you, and guide you or give you some points to actually include in your studying the UK essay. So one of the comments is you have to clearly explain how your choices relate to both your past and future plans. These two are very important. Now, it's not like everything you put there must be related to your past. So you could use maybe 1 or 2 points to relate to your past experience. but everything should be relevant to your future plans. You have to be able to maximize the word limits that you have. Sorry, next slide. Okay, and said focus on the content of the course. You have selected modules, assessment, etc. and how this will help you achieve your goals. So you can see that two things have been consistent to these 2 points. How do you want to achieve your goals? How relevant is the modules that you selected? The assessment, the mode of assessment, the work experience opportunities, the lecturers, how relevant are these points to your future career goals? Even non-academic activities or no, extracurricular activities, they are also aimed at achieving a goal as well. So it could be that you always look forward to watching a football match. That's a goal. But every point has to, get towards achieving something. The extracurricular activity is not your career goal, but you want to achieve what a personal goal for yourself or have a personal experience. So I think at this point, we'll quickly look at 2 examples. We're going to look at the final essay I submitted and my first draft. And at this point, I think I'll get someone to read, and then you will tell me, what do you think was the difference between the bad essay, which was my first or second draft, and the final one I submitted. So Martins, let's share. Am I on time?
Yes, I think we're right. We're good with time. I think we're just 53 minutes into it, and we still have about an hour to go. So yeah, I think at this point we'll pause and maybe take questions, right? Before we go
Okay.
straight to the essays, right? And then we start to destructure essays as it were. But if you've already written your essay, you could see clearly through today's presentation how Chove kept repeating that this requires heavy research. So if you have questions, this would be the time for you to ask your questions, right? Before we go straight into it. I think I took note of some of the non-academic things, right? That can speak to location and in terms of sporting. And I think the UK is good when it comes to F1. I don't know those of you are F1 fans. F1 Grand Prix, the Wimbledon Stadium, if you like tennis. I mean, of course, the English Premier League for people like OG, right? I think another reason might be the London Marathon. I think there's something that we've been doing. I think my school has done it twice. We've been organizing since I got to the UK. There's been people come out and run say 10K, 15K, to maybe to raise money for maybe cancer, etc. So if the university you're choosing has things like that, this would be good and it's connected to whatever you're doing. I think ultimately what we're trying to say is your research should be a deep dive, right, that connects directly into the course and your career goals. All right. So I think there are some hands raised. Musa Yusuf, you can unmute your mic and speak.
Okay, sir. Thank you very much for this wonderful presentation. Sir, I have some points to put in my essay, but I discovered that my essay keep growing bigger. So but my why studying in the UK have some space. So can I use to put I want to advocate for health insurance to cover people with amputation to be able to access customized prosthetic and orthotics after accident or any condition that led to their amputation. So can I narrow that into that part or must be in the other essays? Thank you very much.
OG, over to you. OG, you're muted.
So I think your question in summary is, you have some points that you probably want to add to your studying the UK essay, but they are also connected to your career plan. So more like what you want to achieve, and you don't have enough space. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So this is how you could actually connect to your future career plan. You could either just talk about you could just talk about the courses, why you've chosen them. And in your career plan, you can now you could refer to those things you mentioned in your studying the UKSA. My career plan was about 330 words. I don't think it was 350. The remaining 150 words, they were in my studying the UKSA because I kept on referring to what I will be very sure, or I won't be surprised if I'm being told that my career plan was not read. That's not possible. I won't be surprised because my study in the UKSA was referring to what I wanted to do in the immediate and even long term. Okay, I didn't make a reference to the short, to the mid term, but I made references to the immediate and my long term goal in my study in the UKSA. So I didn't have to write much in my career plan. Again, it could also be that we are trying to put everything, and you will see when I show the example of my essay, you will see my first choice, how long it was, and how I was able to concise, just summarize a lot of things. Some things are written in like 5 lines. I just wrote them in like 3 lines. So it could be a matter of, summarizing and making some things actually concise and have a very smooth and logical transition between the sentences. Could also be that you are trying to discuss 3 modules when you could just refer to 1 or 2 modules and be okay. I know it's hard. 10 modules, all of them are interesting, but you have to actually maximize the 500 word count. And that means you have to put what is relevant. And I will use the opportunity to answer a question I saw in the chat box. You don't have to use all the points. These are just different points. You could choose to just say you want to focus on course content. Maybe under course content, you want to look at modules and lecturers. When you move to location, you want to really look at international events or non-extracurricular activities. Someone mentioned museum. Me, I don't like museum in the UK. In short, I don't want to visit a museum in the UK. I don't like museum in the UK for a lot of reasons. But they have museums. And when you go into some of these museums, you see, let me not talk about museum in the UK. Yes, they have museums, so that could also be a reason why you want to go. You could just talk about museum. Imagine someone talking about museum, football matches, Formula One, lawn tennis. That's 4 things. Just pick maybe 2, write it in 2 or 3 lines, and you're good. So that could be where you're actually, struggling with around those areas. But I think these are points that could guide you in maximizing the 500 word count. I hope I've been able to answer your question, Mr. Musa.
Yeah, it helps, sir.
Okay.
I think that's related to the one you read out in the chat box. I think Victoria was also asking, must all these points mentioned be, right? That's what
Yeah,
you just answered. Yeah. Okay. Do we have more questions? Joy. Okay. Joy is asking, great to know you are great to know you're in University of Success. No, he's no longer there. I think he has left Success. So he's a graduate now.
I don't finish. So I'm an alumni. I'll be
He's a graduate now. He's an
alumnus.
alumni of Success. So
Alumni of Success.
I'm telling you, it's a legend now. So if we have more questions, if there are no more questions, we can go straight into breaking down the good and bad essay so that we can see. All right. I think we are a bit few on the call tonight. I think it's because maybe Ifechi is no longer removing people. Ifechi, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Right. How many persons are you removing this weekend?
Let's just forgive them. The bootcamp is about to end.
I see. Okay.
What has happened? Why are you so? Which English am I supposed to use now?
Tolu, are you about to say something?
I'm asking Ifechi why she's so nice.
Yeah, I'm shocked, to be honest. Like, this is not the Ifechi that I knew.
Exactly.
Okay. We'll be sharing the slides, guys, with everyone. I think I see Solomon's comment. Solomon said, I focus more on the course content, learning modules, lecturers, and the teaching approach. Right. Now, whatever you focus on, ultimately, I think the point here is that it has to be relevant to the program you are selecting, right, Chove?
Yes, to the program you're selecting and your future goals. And
Exactly.
possibly some of them you could connect to your past experience, professional and academic. And I showed, I talked about the professional. So professional does not mean that you sat in an office for 2 years working on a particular, no. It could be that you worked on, could even be a volunteer experience. That was also a professional experience. You've gotten experience in it as well. So yeah.
Okay. I'm now going to put, I think, the bad example. Bad example
Yeah,
first.
start with a bad example. Then I think I'll get anybody that wants to read the bad example can read.
I think we can have hands raised now. I think we'll do it in paragraphs. Okay. Sharing. Do we need like a Bob Marley interlude? Trevor?
You've rigged this thing already. Anytime you're playing a Mali song, does not play out, so I can't vibe well. But good you started with the Bob Marley song anyway, so it actually helped to hype my spirits. Okay, yeah, this is definitely a bad one. Martin said there's something actually, I don't know, from my end.
Can you see
I can see
clearly?
that. Yes, but there's something actually blocking it from my end. I don't know if it's the same for every other person.
I think it has to be the same for some people.
Yeah, it's blurred on my end as well.
Yeah.
Clearing now.
Remains remains one more. You added
There's
one.
one more down.
Okay, just a moment. I'm going to put on Google Doc, guys. I think privacy issues, tropical issues. Okay. So we're going to go to, can we see the Google documents?
Yes, Martin, I can. I can.
Okay, so this is the introduction to the bad example. I think we'll begin here. So who are the volunteers? I think we need the first volunteer to read for us tonight.
Happy to do that.
Okay, please read.
Having lived in the oil-rich Nigeria Delta and worked in the oil sector, I have been exposed to business and environmental risks of carbon-intensive economy. I found it challenging to reduce my carbon footprint and influence others to do so due to the absence of low carbon business models. As the world moves away from the reliance on fossil fuels, it presents Nigeria and my region an opportunity to develop a low carbon economy and avoid huge economic losses. My experience and qualifications in accounting, did I miss something?
Keep
My
going.
experience and qualification in accounting, finance, reporting, supported by my knowledge and passion for climate action, puts me in a position to excel in my studies in the UK. My
Okay.
first choice,
Yeah, keep going.
my first choice is Climate Change Management and Finance at Imperial College London. The course is delivered in partnership with Grantham Institute, which boasts of world-renowned lecturers supported by an advisory board comprising of experts that cut across various industries to ensure the course contents meets current business needs. It offers students opportunity to gain practical experience while learning issues that cut across policies, development, management, and consulting, like carbon accounting module, which uses real life accounting, will enable me to gain experience in carbon accounting while developing my knowledge. The course also won the 2019 Finance for Future Awards organized by that.
Some persons are saying it's not clear from their end.
You
Yeah,
people should exit and rejoin. Solomon, is it clear on your end?
not as much, but yeah, I'm straining my eyes.
What
Wow.
is not clear or bold?
It's bold.
Okay.
Yeah.
What about now? Is it big enough?
Getting. It's big enough now.
Okay, cool. Proceed.
Okay. All these. Whoever is typing should first wait because they're blocking me. I'm using a computer.
You said the course also won. I think that's where you stopped.
Yeah, the course also won the 2019 Finance for Future Awards organized by ICAEW. The course is further supported by key industry players like Chief Executive of Carbon Trust. The panel session with members of the board will offer me the opportunity to gain practical insights on climate change and businesses, and also network with leading consulting experts in the industry. London being the world's leading city in transition to low carbon economy, a partner with Ellen MacArthur Foundation